All right, in this video, I am going to walk you through how to record a vendor credit. So if you click on the plus new icon under vendors, you'll see here we have an option for a vendor credit. Typically, we're going to use a vendor credit when we've purchased something from a vendor and maybe one of the items was defective or was returned for some reason, and instead of just replacing the product or issuing us a refund, instead we're getting a credit for a future purchase. So in order to record that vendor credit, you are going to choose the vendor from the left-hand menu here. All right, and I'm going to pretend that this vendor that we're getting a credit from is Hicks Hardware. Now, the vendor will actually give you a document. So just like they'd give you a bill or an invoice, they're also going to give you a document for the credit. And it's going to have a reference number on it. So you'll just type that reference number in here. This is important so we can just match our documentation to what the vendor has. Now, there's category details and item details. You want to use whatever was used on the original invoice. So let me explain. If we go into Hicks Hardware, so we're going to go to expenses and vendors, because a vendor credit is going to relate to a specific invoice. So let's go to Hicks Hardware. Let's see if we have any invoices for this vendor. And if not, we'll quickly create one. Okay, so I don't see that we have any invoices yet. So let's see if we can create one here. So this one's already doesn't give us an option to use. So let's go ahead and just do a new transaction. And we are going to enter a bill from the vendor. Now it's a little tricky. It's called a bill when it's from your vendor, but they're going to call it an invoice because they're invoicing you. So I'm going to quickly just create a fictitious bill. And I'm going to assume that it was for a pump and a rock fountain, and I'm going to change our quantities here. So we ordered 5 pumps and 10 rock fountains. Okay, and then I am going to save and close that transaction. Now we're going to assume that they sent us the product and it was one of the rock fountains was damaged. So now we're going to create a vendor credit, which we also can do, as you saw here from the vendor center. So the reference number, it could either be the invoice number, so a lot of times it'll be the exact same invoice number, and then -CR. So I'm just going to copy the number from this bill. We're going to assume. Now again, you'll want to match whatever the vendor actually sent you. So I'm going to do a vendor credit, and I'm going to put CR so we know that that's a credit related to this invoice, and it was for a rock pump or rock fountain. I'm going to assume that it was one rock fountain that didn't arrive for $125 or arrived damaged. So now we have a credit sitting here. So then when the vendor, Hicks Hardware, when we go to pay them, now we can actually apply the vendor credit against the invoice. So let's just click out of here into it's trying to help us, which we don't necessarily need. So I am just going to, let me just click here. I want to pay this bill. And again, they're trying to get you to do their offers, which I'm not sure why they're doing that in a sample file. Let's try clicking on our bill. And then I just want to make the payment, but I don't want to schedule a payment. I want to actually post a payment. This is really interesting. All right, so we're going to go new, and I'm just going to do it as print checks, or let's see if our pay bills feature works here. Hold on. So if you can't get it to work, we can always do the print checks feature. Let's see if it'll allow us to. Okay, we can do our pay bills. Again, you won't run into issues like this with your actual file. This is just the demo file, and sometimes there's going to be weird stuff. So if I click on Hicks Hardware, you can see this is the invoice that was open. Here's the credit memo that we've created. If we didn't want to apply that, we'd just change this amount to 0. But I want to apply that, so our net payment is going to be $11.75. And then I am just going to hit save and close. So again, that schedule payment feature, Intuit is trying to add a lot of different features and built-in things and upsells within QuickBooks, which can be a little bit frustrating, but there's always a workaround. So again, if you want to create a vendor credit, you can do the plus new and go here and click on vendor credit. Or as you just saw, you can go directly into the vendor and under new transaction, you can create a vendor credit there. Now, when it's time to pay the bill for the vendor, you have the option, again, you can just create a check here. You can uh, typically enter a payment there, or you can go here to your plus new icon, click pay bills. You can choose whether or not to apply that vendor credit to that specific bill. It just depends on the client's preference and whether they're ready to use that credit or not.